Yeah. I think something like that'll work.
That is the cheapest I've ever seen.
Alright, welcome back everyone. So, as you saw, we're going to install some Casey lights on the front of my Jeep. But first, let's go over a few reasons why. One, I'm actually pulling a light bar off my Jeep. And the reason I'm pulling the light bar off is simple. The LED light, I just found it to be way too harsh. It's way too blue, way too harsh. Now, the light bar I have is not cheap. It's a Vision X light bar. It's actually really good. It's a pretty expensive unit. But I found on one trip that we went on, and then I started noticing on the rest of the trips, that you just couldn't see the road that well. Yeah, you could see where the road was, and you could see that it was very, very bright, but it was also very washed out. And I liken that to one reason, that the LED light is just too harsh, and that you don't get any contrast on the road, and everything just looks very white. And when that happens, you can't really see what's on the road. Case in point, in Utah, we were going down one road towards Candy Hot Springs, and we hit a series of whoops, and we had the back end of the Jeep almost come completely off the ground, and we hit the bump stops, and it was a mess. And the one reason that happened is we couldn't see that the whoops were there. Now, when you turn the headlights on, granted, you can't see almost anything by comparison with the LEDs, but what you can see is that they're whoops. The harshness, just the color of the LED lights, I don't think is super great. And that's where amber LEDs or select yellows come in, and that makes it really nice, but I'm just not too fond of LED light bars on a Jeep anymore. So we're gonna go retro. We're gonna go with some Casey lights. I think they're gonna look really cool on the Jeep, for one. Two, they're 100-watt halogen bulbs, and I like the color halogen puts out, especially the 100 watts. It's a bit over 3000 Kelvin, and that color I think it's a nice color. We don't do desert racing in the Jeep. We don't fly down dirt roads, you know. But we like to be able to see where we're going. We like to have a little extra light in the back roads where deer or bear are, so we don't hit them, for one. And then two, just be able to light up camping areas or areas we're pulling into or areas we're exploring so that we can see what's actually going on before we get up to it. LED lights are really awesome for racing, but you need a wide variety of color ranges, I think, just to make them work correctly. And I think for what we do, the halogen bulbs are going to be perfectly fine. Let's face it, they're going to look really kick butt on the front of my Jeep. So let's go over to the workbench. Let me show you what we're going to do, and then we'll get started. All right, so here's the layout. Here's what we're going to do. Now, I took some measurements and everything and kind of laid this whole thing out just to kind of show you my ideas. We are going to weld little tabs here and put the lights exactly like this. I'm going to have two driving on the outside and two spot on the inside. Now, the driving are going to be on their own separate switch, but the spotlights are going to be tied to a set of rigid dually D2 spotlights that I have. And I think that combination is actually okay because the D2s will be pointed so far out there that they're not going to be right in front of me. And it's going to be more of, I don't know, just to see what's way far out there. Then these guys will fill in the rest of the distance, and then the driving lights obviously are just going to expand your current headlights. That's my thought anyway, that's my theory, and because these are different colors than the rigids over there, the D2s, the hyper spots that I have, I think the combination will be just fine, and I won't have so much harsh light going on in front of my rig. I'll be actually able to see the roads. Now, a few things we have to do besides welding and grinding on this guy right here. This is a Warren grill guard. Goes on the Warren winch mount that I have, and I've run it before, and I run some 8-inch halo lights on there, but they were okay. They weren't super great. Honestly, they weren't too much better than my headlights, so I just decided to get rid of them. However, these lights, I'm going to grab the fog version before I take these apart so I can mark them. These lights, the wires were just clipped, so I have to rewire them. So that's the first thing we need to do, is I have all the wiring to redo these, and we're actually going to do a bit of an upgrade. So what I found out is that these lights from the factory came with a little anemic 18 gauge wire, and that's fine. It'll run the wire, it'll run the lights, I mean, just fine. We're going to upgrade that to 12 gauge wire, and there's two reasons. One, I think with 12 gauge, I can run two lights off run wire. It's less wiring, less wires to run everywhere, so it's going to do a cleaner, just a cleaner install. Two, by doing that, the voltage is going to come up a little bit, which means the amperage draw will come down slightly, I believe anyway. But also, by raising the voltage, more importantly, by getting a higher voltage to the light, you actually get more light output from a halogen bulb. So I know that you get more light output, lower amps, not entirely sure on that one, but you do get better light output when you can get more voltage to the lights. You do have a reduced risk of bulb life, but that's okay. These are not on all the time. These are only on when they need them. The wire we're going to use is this guy right here. It's some Amazon wire that I bought, and I was playing around looking at it. It's actually pretty nice stuff. So you have this nice thick outer sheathing, then you have the inner two sheathing, and it comes with a ripcord to tear it, which is super nice because most of them don't come like that. When you have this wire in this manner, this is 12/2, meaning 2 wires in one casing. A lot of them don't come with this ripcord, and they all should. So I'll leave a link to this wire, and then we need some connectors, which I have heat shrink or marine grade connectors and all that stuff to put this all together. So with that, let's start by pulling these lights apart and adding some wire to them. All right, get this thing all in here, and I'll show you how these come apart. They're actually pretty neat. So under here you have a tab. You've never seen inside of a KC highlight or a light this style. They're actually pretty cool. They're very simplistic. There's a tab right here that locks. You basically just take something and give it a little tap. There you go. And these guys come right apart. Now when you do this, be careful. There actually is a little gasket here. And you want to be careful not to tear that, because honestly I don't know where to get another one. You could probably make one, but we'll just be careful and not tear them. And then the rest of it, the light just kind of comes out of here. Just like that. That is it. That is all there is to this light. So these use an H3 bulb. What's the bulb that in here is an Osram 100 watt, just what I want. So I'm not going to pull them out, not going to touch them. It's perfectly fine. We are going to replace this wiring though, so we'll just undo this. Now, one other cool thing about these lights that many people don't know is that KC lights are reversible. So this way is up, and your grill would go up like this, right? But if you wanted to reverse it, yes, you could reverse the grill, but let's say you want to run the light upside down for some reason, just the way your bar runs, or maybe you're pairing 2 lights together or something. This lens actually flips completely 180, and it locks in that way, so you can now flip the lens cover too, or the little stone guard, just like that, lock it in, and now your lens will be right side up when the whole housing is upside down. Pretty cool, pretty neat, pretty cool design. Whoa. And one more, and this light will be almost done. We just got to heat it up. Got to heat up these connectors so they shrink. Boom. Light rebuilt. Okay. I think it looks really nice. Check out the cabling in the back. I think it's a really nice professional looking job. Honestly, it's better than what was in there, I think. Looks a lot nicer, looks a lot cleaner. So with that, I'm going to go to and hack a length of this off, since we're going to wire these things together, and then get started on welding, and then we'll wire everything up on the Jeep and get it all hooked up tonight so we can test it and see how everything looks.
I don't know why you wanna treat me this way.
Give this thing a little paint. We'll let it dry for the night. We'll come back tomorrow morning, mount it, and get the lights wired up.
I don't know why you wanna treat me this way. I don't know why you wanna treat me this way.
Alright, there you have it. So, 100-watt KC lights are all installed, and honestly, they look super, super cool. It remains to be seen how functional they will be, but we'll do some testing on that, and we'll also, like I said, throw those 100-watt yellow bulbs in there and see what happens and see how those function. I think they might be really interesting. Anyway, with that, I think it's time to end the video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like what's going on the channel, subscribe, like the video if you liked it, hit the comments below and let me know what you think about this whole setup. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.